Hi guys, thank you for watching this video. Today we will show you how to canvas paint using acrylic paint, as well as some helpful tips on how to hold your brush, how to blend colors, and how to mix colors. So go grab your supplies and let's paint. Hi guys, my name is Kimberly. Welcome to Canvas Painting with a Sprinkle of Fun. Today we're going to be painting the winter polar bear. And for that we're going to need the 11 by 14 canvas that we gave you with your kit, along with the two brushes, a big brush, a small brush. The paint we'll need is blue, black, red, and white. You'll also need a cup of water and paper towel. And we're going to start with the big brush. Make sure it's dry, clean and dry. I'm going to start with the background first, which is going to be the blue. And for that, we're going to go right in the middle of the canvas. We're just going to make two hills. And we're going to paint everything above those two hills with the blue color. So everything on top is going to be blue. Now we want to make sure this stays wet for now, so I'm putting a little more paint than I usually would, because we're going to blend in some black, so the top of the sky is a little darker than the bottom. You can see up here it goes dark and gets a little lighter as it goes down. So now that's nice and wet. We still have blue on our brush. We're going to leave that on there, and we're going to take a little bit of black, very little bit, just on the tip of the brush. And we're just going to add a black line on top. And we'll dip it back in again, very little bit, right on top. And then we're going to go back and forth. And as we're going back and forth, you're going to work your way down the canvas. And that's going to help give it that blended look. Now I want up here to be a little darker, so I'm going to take a little more black. And same thing. Start from the top, work your way down, back and forth. And you want to keep that brush moving in one direction, left to right. And you should start at one end of the canvas. Don't take your brush off until you get to the other side. This way you will not have stroke marks, and it'll be nice and smooth, and it will dry quickly. And we want this background to dry quickly so we can go on to the next step, which would be the polar bear. That's the step after the whole background is done. Okay, so now we have our dark blue on top, and it gets a little lighter as we go down. these two hills are going to be behind our polar bear. And then we have the sky completed. And now we can move on to the snow. So for that, just gonna even this out a little. For that, we're going to clean the big brush and wipe it on the paper towel. You're still gonna have some blue on there, that's okay, as long as the brush is dry. And we're now going to take white and we're going to fill in the bottom part of the canvas, which is going to be the snow. And we're going to try not to hit that blue so much. It's okay for a little bit of the blue to be on the bottom, but we don't want too much. So we're going to try not to hit that blue sky. And if you do happen to hit it, we'll just spread it out. So you can see there's a little bit of blue on my brush. That's fine as long as you spread it out with the white. You won't see too much. And same way we did the top, we want to go side to side to smooth it out. No brush strokes, nice and smooth so it dries quickly. And then we will be ready for our polar bear. Now we're going to let this dry for about 10 minutes before we move on to the polar bear. In the meantime, we're going to clean the brush so we're ready for the next step. Okay, now our canvas is dry and we are ready for the next step. And for that, we're going to be using the big brush again. And we're going to start with the polar bear's head, which is going to be a rectangle shape. And you can see his head is slightly slanted. And we're going to take white and we want to be able to see our polar bear on the canvas. So we're not going to use just pure white. We're going to take a little bit of black, and you can see on my brush here, very, very tiny bit of black. And we're going to mix that in. So we're going to get a gray color, but it's going to be a very soft, very light gray. And that's the color we're going to be using for the polar bear. So we're going to start with his head, which is going to be rectangle. And remember, it's a little bit slanted, so it's not perfectly straight. And then we can fill that in. Now you also may notice that your polar bear may start to turn a little blue because of the background behind it. That's fine. We can go over that again later. if we need to. And again, you want to try and stay in one direction so it will dry quickly. Okay, now we're going to wipe off that excess paint from the brush. We're not going to clean it because we're still using the white, the gray that we made. We're just going to get some of that paint off. And we're going to move on to the body. And what we're going to do first is we're going to make another rectangle. This time it's going to be long ways. So we don't want to go from the corner of each side of the rectangle we already made. We're going to go a little bit in here. And we're going to make another rectangle. And I'm going to make mine just a little bit darker just so you can see. Just so you can actually see where I'm painting. And then you could fill that in as well. All right, so we had the rectangle on top, which was a little slanted, rectangle going a long ways on the bottom, and fill that in. And now we're going to add the feet, which is going to be 2 ovals, 2 egg shapes, one on the bottom of each side. So oval and oval. One on the left, one on the right. And then once you're done with that part, you're going to put your brush in the water. We're going to move on to the small brush. And we're going to be using the same color, but we need the smaller brush now because the shapes we're going to be making are going to be a little smaller. So the first thing we're going to do here, we want the shoulder, the upper arm part of your bear to come out a little. So we're going to bring that out just a little bit with a curve on each side. And then we're going to do the same thing right underneath. So right between the foot and that shoulder part we just made, we're just going to add another curved line and fill that in. If you're not sure, you want to watch it again, you guys could always pause the video and go back. That's what's great about these pre-recorded canvas paint videos. All right. And now we're still using the small brush, same white color. We're going to add the ears, which is going to be 2 circles, one on the left, one on the right. Still using the small brush. And we can fill that in. And then we're going to clean the brush. And we're going to allow this to dry for a few minutes. Figure another 5-7 minutes. We're going to let that dry, and we're going to add the stars in the sky next. All right, now before we move on to the features of the bear, we're going to let him dry a little longer, and we're going to add the stars in the sky, which we're going to use the white for. We're going to take the small brush and we're going to turn it upside down and use the back end of the brush. And you're just going to dip that right in the white. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the 2, I guess you can say, constellations, these stars that look like hearts. We'll do those first. And we're just going to make a heart shape using dots, using the back end of the brush. And we're going to put 1 on each side. And we'll take a little more, and now we're just going to add some dots all around. And it's fine, we want some to be big, some to be a little smaller, but we definitely want them scattered all around. Now what I also did here was I added some stars, kind of like some snowflakes, and I'll show you how to do that. To make one, I'm going to use blue just so you're able to see it on the back of the plate here, just to give you an idea. And what you're going to do is you're going to be using white on the canvas, but first you'll just watch me here on the plate. I'm using blue just so you can see. And we're going to make a cross, like a T. And then going sideways, we're going to make an X, smaller. And that's going to give you a little snowflake, so T, and then small x. T, small x. And now we're going to use white, and we're going to do that on the canvas to add some snowflakes. So make sure your brush is dry. And you're also going to squeeze the end so it's nice and flat. And we'll take white, T, small x, and we do not need too many of these, maybe 3 or 4. And then your sky will be complete. And we're ready to move on to the bear, which we're going to be using the same small brush, so you want to make sure that is clean and dry. And now we're going to be using black. We're going to be doing the outline and the facial features of the bear. And first we're going to start with his face. So we're going to add 2 circles for his eyes. And you'll want to fill those in. And then his nose, same thing, we're going to take black, small brush. And we're going to make a triangle. This triangle is going to be upside down. So on the top is going to be the long line. And then the sides connecting for upside down triangle. And then for his mouth, we'll take a little more black and we're just going to add a line going down and a W. Now we're still using black, so we do not need to clean the brush. And now we're going to add in his ear, small black circle. You don't want to fill in the whole ear, just the inner part. On each side. And you'll want to look at both ears and try to make the inner ear the same size as best you can. And then once we have that complete, we're going to start outlining the bear. So we're going to start outlining his head and ears first. We're not going to connect the neck all the way through. You can see here we didn't go all the way through. So we'll start on the side. On the top. And then we'll go around his ears. And now the head is completely outlined. And for the next part, we're going to outline the body. And first we're going to start with the front legs. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to go around that first shape we made, that was the upper arms, on both sides. And then straight line down each side. And then now connecting in the middle, we don't want one line connecting. You can see it's kind of like a little W shape here. We want 2 curved lines. That's going to be 2 paws, not 1. So you can see here that's not one straight line. It curves in, comes back out. And then we're going to go about halfway up with another line. and a V right on top of that. And that's going to give the shape of his front legs. And now we're going to do his paws. So still using the small brush and black, we do not need to clean anything. We're still using the same color. We're going to do the inside first. So just like we did the ears, we're going to add black ovals because this was an oval shape. Fill it in. And same way you did the ears, you want to look at both, make sure they are as close to being the same size as possible. And then we're going to add 3 dots right on top for his paws. And take some more black. And we're going to outline his foot here. On each side. And then the last part we're going to outline are these 2 shapes here, which is going to be the back of his legs. 1 on each side. And then you guys can clean the brush. And we're going to move on to the candy cane, which I'm going to show you on the back of this plate, just like we did with the snowflakes. And we're going to use the small brush. And what we're going to do is we're going to just make small red lines going up and then turning into the shape of a candy cane. So again, just small lines going up, and then we're going to turn that into that hook shape for the candy cane. So small brush, we're going to take red, small lines going up, and then turn, and that's going to be the first part of our candy cane. And we're going to do the same thing with the white. First we'll clean the brush. Still using the small brush, clean it, dry it off. And we're going to take white and we're going to go right in between those lines. And it's okay if they turn a little pink, right between those lines. And then just wipe the paint off the brush a bit so the brush is dry. And then what I did was I just took a little bit of white and a very, very little bit of blue. And we're just going to add a little snow pile underneath our bear. Almost just looks like a little shadow underneath him. And that's it. Now, as far as the candy cane goes, you can wait for the candy cane to completely dry to outline it with the black. I would also suggest what I did here was I waited for the canvas to completely dry and then took a black Sharpie, because it's a small area, and went around the candy cane that way. If you don't want to use a Sharpie and you want to use the brush, that's fine. You're just going to do the same thing. You're going to wait for that painting to dry. Make sure the brush is flat. This way you can go around the candy cane with the black paint. But again, mine is not dry. I just wanted to show you guys. You must wait for that to dry. All right, and then also if you wanted to go back, I could see some areas where my polar bear picked up a little of the blue. If you wanted to go back in and do that white, as long as the canvas is completely dry, you're able to do that as well. But again, you need this to be completely dry, otherwise you're going to hit that black and he's just going to start turning gray, and you don't want that either. All right, we are finished with our winter polar bear. I hope you guys had fun with me today. You guys can share your artwork with us at Facebook and Instagram, #SprinklePaint. For more videos and canvas paintings, you guys can go to asprinkleoffun.com, and we hope to see you next time. We hope you guys had fun painting with us today. For more information on how to host your own private paint event, you guys can go to asprinkleoffun.com. Don't forget to share your artwork with us at Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we hope to see you guys next time.